I'm reacting to your Royal Rumble hot takes. Because this year's Royal Rumble seems to be very polarizing. It seems like there's people in one of two camps. The Royal Rumble was awesome, or the Royal Rumble sucked. So I figured I'd give you all an opportunity to tell me your thoughts about the show. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, you're gonna fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. Also, shout out to the like 30,000 of you that have subscribed to this channel in just January alone. It's growing like crazy. Okay, but let's read some stupid shit. Cody winning again is boring. So many new stories could have been created through new winners, face-off, eliminations. Instead, we got a decent match where Cody wins again. You know what's interesting? In my mind, I thought that Cody winning again would suck, that the idea of a back-to-back winner was awful, but somehow I'm kind of at peace and I'm kind of okay with it as well. I have to also understand that back-to-back winners, although it's not something that's really happened in my lifetime as a wrestling fan, because I started watching in 2002 and there hasn't been a back-to-back winner since I've started watching wrestling. It actually used to be the norm. So this is kind of like a callback to a different time in professional wrestling where the top guy in the company is the guy that gets that chance to be at the top at WrestleMania. And I think this is the WWE affirming to us that that guy moving forward is Cody Rhodes. He is their Stone Cold. He is their Hulk Hogan. He is their John Cena. This is the guy that they're putting their eggs in. And I don't think that there's a better vote of confidence than going back to back and winning the Royal Rumble and main eventing back to back WrestleManias against the top heel in the company again. Because before I used to be of the mind that like, this is sacrilege. How could you possibly have a back to back winner? This is such a waste. Give other people an opportunity. But then also I have to understand that this is just what they used to do. I'm with you. There could have been other people that could have benefited from this Royal Rumble match. I'm of the mind that believes that Cody Rhodes should have struggled a bit more to get to that spot, but WWE felt otherwise. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't hate Cody winning. I just didn't expect them to actually pull the trigger on a back-to-back winner. There should have been more NXT stars in both matches to show off the new talents to set up main roster storylines when call-ups happen. I'm actually going to push back here. I'm entirely okay with there having only been 2 NXT stars per the men's and the women's Royal Rumble match, because I think their idea was to highlight the 2 that were the most main roster ready. For example, you look at the men's, they used Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. I don't think anyone is going to disagree that they're the 2 that are the most likely to be in the main roster within the next couple of months. And then you look at the women's side, Tiffany Stratton, yeah, probably the same deal, and same with Roxanne Perez. So I think their idea is to showcase the people that are going to be called up very soon, as opposed to the people that are just going to go back down to NXT for another year or two. So I like the idea of just using the ones that are the most realistic to introduce to fans now. Back-to-back winners is no fun. It just feels like a repeat of the previous year. I don't know what to tell you, Wrestling Brady. That's literally what back-to-back means, a repeat of the previous year. However, I do feel like the context is a little bit different here, because before, Cody Rhodes walked into WrestleMania still as an underdog, because there was a huge contingent of people that said there's no way that Roman is losing the title before the 1,000 day mark. But now, in my opinion, he's walking in there as the odds-on favorite, because now I'm gonna say there's no way he can win back-to-back Rumbles and lose back-to-back years at WrestleMania. Right? Jade Cargill has already solidified herself as a top main eventer, and I can see a multi-championship career ahead of her. Hashtag Belair versus Cargill at Mania. Dude, what a brilliant, absolutely brilliant way to call up Jade Cargill. In fact, I'm going to take back everything that I said before, that they just needed to give us Jade Cargill as soon as possible. I'm glad that they saved her. Hindsight is such a powerful tool for humanity. I love the fact that they saved this moment, because they did a fantastic job building up the unstoppable Nia Jax to have the surprising Jade Cargill come out there and make a star out of herself by annihilating the thing that seemed unstoppable. So a 10 out of 10 in terms of the booking on the part of the WWE. It was an absolutely brilliant showing. But also, Yeah, dude, I want Belair versus Cargill. We got that stare down at the Royal Rumble when they were both gorilla pressing somebody. So we've already started to plant the seeds. And if Bayley's going to go after Io and Becky's going to get Rhea, that's going to leave Bianca Belair available for a big marquee women's match. And I think it doesn't get more marquee than Belair versus Cargill. CM Punk should have won the Royal Rumble. Hear me out. We're not sure how much time we have for Punk left in the WWE. And yes, he will still get the match with Seth, but the feeling of seeing him finally win a Royal Rumble is something WWE missed out on. Well, I think we have to let things play out, because if the plan is to properly turn CM Punk heel and the catalyst of the heel turn is him losing at the Royal Rumble, then I think it was an absolutely brilliant decision to have him lose the Royal Rumble match, because you can't go into WrestleMania with CM Punk being a babyface and Seth Rollins also being a babyface who now has even more sympathy points because he's going in injured. It's just not gonna work. You need a ruthless, evil CM Punk. And again, if the Rumble loss is going to be the catalyst for this, then I think it's gonna end up being brilliant. But we gotta let just the Tetris blocks fall and see how things play out. Hey folks, if you want even more wrestling content, consider checking out Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. Right after this episode of Monday Night Raw, I'm gonna post the review, because you get the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, NXT reviews, the monthly mailbag. You're also gonna get the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everyone else. Again, that's patreon.com/SantiZap. Check the link in the description or the pinned comment. That's it. I'm done with the sellout, but go check it out. I think you're gonna like it. Back to the video. I don't see the point of jobbers or bottom rungers being in the Royal Rumble. It feels like a wasted spot that should have gone to someone better. For example, Pete Dunne over Grayson Waller, or Ilya Dragunov over Ivar. Okay, there's a lot that I need to tackle here. First of all, Pete Dunne over Grayson Waller? In what world is Grayson Waller a jobber? Grayson Waller gets so much marquee TV time on Friday Night SmackDown. He got a marquee spot at the Royal Rumble. Heck, he was at the Royal Rumble twice. Grayson Waller is absolutely not the definition of a jobber. Would have been nice to have Pete Dunne in there, but not because of Grayson Waller taking his spot. And Ilya Dragunov over Ivar, most main roster fans are casuals. They're going to know Ivar over Ilya Dragunov. That being said, in what fucking world is Ivar a jobber? Ivar's putting on match of the night after match of the night on Monday Night Raw. I think maybe you believe that a jobber is somebody that didn't have a chance of winning the Royal Rumble, so maybe your definition of jobber is entirely off here. But I will tell you why you don't have to fill the Royal Rumble match with nothing but main event caliber potential winners, because you need to make the potential winners look strong, and you make them look strong by having them eliminate multiple people. And you have the guys that are in the middle of the card and the bottom of the card that are there to be eliminated. In movie terms, they're red shirts. They're there to help increase the kill count. So if everyone in there is just nothing but Stone Cold Steve Austins, no one's ever gonna get fucking eliminated. I think a lot of people's expectations were too high for this event, and if they had lowered them, it would have been seen as a classic. I believe that this year's Women's Rumble is on par or even better than 2018's. Yeah, dude, expectations for this Rumble were obviously like through the roof, but they were through the roof the previous year and the year before that and the year before that, and it's just this never-ending Groundhog Day of people overhyping what's going to happen at the Rumble. Dude, look at the Women's Rumble match. There are people saying that this Rumble match was an L because Sasha Banks wasn't in it. Meanwhile, we got Naomi returning back to the WWE from TNA. Jordynne Grace, a TNA contractual talent, jumping ship and appearing on WWE television with her championship. We had Jade Cargill appearing and becoming an instant megastar. We had Liv Morgan come back from injury. We had the showcase of the future with Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez. And we also had the winner that we all wanted, Bayley. And you want to sit here and call this an L because Sasha Banks didn't return? I don't understand the concept of letting these high expectations ruin the reality of what was, by the way, not just a very good Rumble match, the best women's Royal Rumble match ever, in my opinion, and not just an amazing Rumble match by women's standards. I think this is one of the best Royal Rumble matches I've ever seen. Putting Liv and Sammy at the 30 spot might have hurt them due to fans and their expectations. Yes, it did. However, this is just a fan problem. This is for them to deal with. It's not Liv's problem. It's not Sammy's problem. Hell, it's not even WWE's problem. And, you know, I don't know what this wild expectation for number 30 is. Liv and Sammy are both returning characters to WWE. They were gone for a while. That in itself is a surprise. Look, I get it. It's not like the craziest return of all time. However, it's one that we should be appreciative of. I will say that I think that they could have probably benefited from being somewhere else on the card. For example, I think you could swap Liv Morgan and Jade Cargill and people would have been slightly happier, and you could have probably swapped Sami Zayn and Andrade, for example, and had Andrade be the 30th. However, I would have personally put Sami Zayn at 3, so we could have gotten Jay, Jimmy, and Sammy in there anyways. Yeah, the expectations should not let this ruin how good this show was. They wasted Jay and Jimmy starting off at the Rumble since Braun Breaker eliminated Jimmy. This should have been the start of their feud headed into Mania. I wouldn't say wasted. I think this was a really awesome, like, little preview. I mean, that face-off had people absolutely buzzing in that arena. I think it would have been better had Jimmy eliminated Jay and Jimmy would have just continued to be this thorn in Jay's side. You know, somebody that cost him to lose the Royal Rumble, cost him to lose the tag titles, and cost him to lose the actual WWE Championship against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. I think that's how I would have personally done it. But I don't think that things have been wasted. I still think that you have a lot of excitement for this potential buildup for this match, the brotherly love street fight, which is what I want to see at WrestleMania. I think Josh Alexander should have been in the men's Royal Rumble match to represent TNA. Yeah, I think it would have been super cool to have some men from TNA be in the men's Royal Rumble match, whether it's just one or two. Honestly, you could have picked a few. I personally would have gone with Moose, but Josh Alexander is also an absolute machine. But here's the thing. The fact that we're even talking about this, that's the treat. The fact that WWE is actually doing business directly with TNA in some capacity is so bizarre. It's so cool though. Damian Priest in the Royal Rumble was a wasted spot. He already has the Money in the Bank. Give that spot to another superstar like Jinder, Ciampa, Dexter Lumis, or a legend. I hear your argument about Priest, but I don't think Damian Priest was the problem. I think the only truly wasted spot was Pat McAfee, him just going in and then going out. Because yeah, like that could have gone to, like you said, a Jinder, Ciampa, Chatty Daddy wasn't in the Royal Rumble. Otis wasn't in the Royal Rumble. To me, that was the only real wasted spot. What, for the sake of 30 seconds of laughing? They should have had LA Knight enter the Rumble after his match. He was the highlight of the match and could have added some extra energy to the Rumble. I'm actually going to take the statement, triple it, and pass it to the next guy by also saying that I think they should have had AJ Styles and Randy Orton in there. Why not? I think that it would have added to the star power of this men's Royal Rumble match. But I think you picked the right guy. If I could only have one of the three there, I personally would have picked LA Knight, especially because towards the end of the show, the crowd was starting to lose its energy, and the fact that it's also an open roof stadium makes it so that the crowd doesn't sound anywhere near as loud as they probably are. So having that injection of energy with LA Knight's music could have helped maybe wake that crowd up. So I think you picked the right guy out of all of them, but I personally would have had all of them. Jordynne Grace needs to be signed by WWE as soon as possible. Dude, I'm with you. And I think that's probably the plan in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure the WWE was highly impressed by her. I'm sure the WWE was impressed at how much of a pop she actually got. It wasn't like deafening because, again, most people wouldn't know who she was, but she got some noise out of that crowd. And on top of that, in the actual match itself, she was incredibly impressive. And she adds another set of muscle mommy mania in there. So yeah, let's bring Jordynne Grace to WWE. CM Punk's performance in the Rumble told me that his future is best as a mouthpiece of a faction rather than a single star. I just felt awkward watching him, so tired after coming in at just number 27. I'm gonna push back on this. I want you to actually go back and watch everything that Punk did in that Rumble. And he was trying to put as many people people over by having offense and back and forth with everyone in that ring. Most people in the Rumble that have any sort of extended appearance in there will roll out, will line the corner and take a break. CM Punk was going full tilt for the majority of his time that he was there. What I will say is that I do believe that WWE overestimated what he was capable of by trying to recreate Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker 2007 with that like 12-minute match at the end of the Royal Rumble between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. That is where he seemed a little bit gassed, but I think CM Punk did a lot, maybe even too much, when there were still a bunch of guys in the Rumble to try and again get some offense in with all of these guys that he's never had offense with. And then again, that like last 12-minute back and forth with Cody, I think it might have just been too much. But let's not create this narrative that he went out there and he was instantly gassed. I'm telling you, he did a lot in that Rumble. A Big Four Premium Live event doesn't work in Florida. Last night had some incredible moments and returns, but to me, the crowd sounded flat all night. You know, I'm just gonna connect the dots for you. The two most underwhelming crowds of the past 12 months have been SummerSlam and have been that Florida crowd at the Royal Rumble. I just think these giant arena football stadiums just don't do a great job of acoustics in terms of making it sound loud on television, because everyone that I talked to that went to the show said that they were pretty loud all night. So I think it's just the actual big ass arena itself. We're getting heel CM Punk sooner than expected, as we should. Again, I mentioned this earlier in the video, babyface CM Punk and sympathetic fighting injured champion Seth Rollins isn't going to work. One of them needs to be heel, and now because of the injury, it can't be Seth Rollins. It has to be CM Punk. I think that he needs to be a ruthless, vindictive version of himself, and that's the version that a lot of us are gonna fall in love with. I'm excited for it, I'm here for it, and I hope it starts as soon as the Monday Night Raw right after the Royal Rumble. Logan Paul match was definitely the most creative finish, and Roman should take notes. Dude, the end of the Logan Paul Kevin Owens match was absolutely freaking brilliant. I was so happy with their creative decision to go the way that they did, because it does open up the ability to have a sequel at Elimination Chamber. It protected Logan Paul as this snively heel that keeps getting away with things. It protected Kevin Owens as he didn't lose to some social media part-timer. It was perfection. And yeah, Roman Reigns should take notes, because just a solo Sikoa interference every single time is getting a little bit tiresome. R-Truth was the highlight of both Rumbles. Is anyone gonna disagree with this? Because this is absolutely right. This planet does not deserve R-Truth. Him trying to enter the Women's Rumble, him thinking that Adam Pearce lost his hair because it was Nick Aldis that told him he was number 24. That is just too goddamn funny. Then him entering the Men's Royal Rumble finally and thinking it's a tag match and trying to get a hot tag from Nick Mysterio. Dude, I don't know who writes this stuff for him. Something tells me that there's no one creative enough to come up with this, that it has to be himself, R-Truth, that's coming up with this stuff. It's just unbelievably funny. R-Truth was a gem that entire night. They made a good decision when booking Andrade to reject Santos Escobar's approach for friendship. There are already too many people in that storyline, and Andrade can have a slow but steady build to the singles main event scene. 100% agree. I actually don't want to see Andrade anywhere near the LWO or the Legado del Fantasma. I don't want him to just be another Latino guy in this like Latino civil war that's going on in SmackDown. In fact, I want him to go to Raw, be a single star on Raw, and like you said, slowly build himself up into the main event scene, because the best booked Andrade was Andrade in NXT Black and Gold that was run by Triple H, and now we have a main roster that's run by Triple H, so everything is pointing that a singles Andrade run is going to hit magically. And yes, I know that him and Charlotte are together. Oh, why would you separate them? Charlotte is hurt. She can go wherever she wants. She's not traveling with the SmackDown crew, okay? So let him go to Raw, and when Charlotte comes back, she can go to Raw, sure. Finally, the Roman era will come to an end, and the story will finally be completed. This has to be right? There's no way that the story doesn't finish at this year's WrestleMania. There's no way. There's just no world where Cody Rhodes would win the Royal Rumble 2 times in a row and fail 2 times in a row. I don't know. Is that possible? Is it possible that they could build to a 3rd attempt to where he maybe wins the Royal Rumble a 3rd time? Man, It has to be it. If I'm a betting man, I'm gonna say that's it. That Cody's winning at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker's presence in the Royal Rumble felt Brock-esque. That even on the main card, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. This was a fantastic major introduction of Braun Breaker to the main roster. I think he was a great addition, last second addition to the Royal Rumble match. Apparently, he's the one that took Brock Lesnar's spot, which is hilarious to think about because Braun Breaker was then eliminated by Dominic Mysterio, which means that the plan was to have Brock Lesnar be eliminated by Dominic Mysterio, which that in itself is hilarious. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you told me before the Rumble, Santi, you have to pick between Braun Breaker or Brock Lesnar, who do you want to be in the Rumble? Allegations aside, I'm taking Braun Breaker every single time. So I'm glad that he got this opportunity to go showcase how much of an absolute beast that he absolutely is. And he showcased all of that. Can't wait to see what they do with him. I hope that this is like permanent now. All right, folks, now we're on to the road to Elimination Chamber and the highway to WrestleMania. What a time to be a wrestling fan. Let me know your thoughts on the Royal Rumble. If you have any Royal Rumble takes yourself, let me know. If you have any thoughts about any of the, some of them being ridiculous hot takes that were sent in, let me know in the comments down below as well. It's a pretty safe place down there. So go ahead, discuss amongst yourselves, but that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.